Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, welcome to Love Your Body, Love Your Life. My name is Jenna. I'm the host of this podcast. Welcome back to myself and welcome to all of my audience that's listening live. I really appreciate it. And it's been a minute. I actually started this podcast back in 2019. I had gone through a life coaching program and my book was just about to be published. My book was published in 2020, early 2020. And I did the show. It was on radio only at the time, on iHeartRadio. And then I left and I came back in like 2022. I did it again for a year. And now I'm back again, October 2024. And so thank you to Talk for TV and Rebel and Dean and Juan and all the people behind the scenes that have been on this podcast journey with me. I really do love it, you guys. I love talking about health and beauty and spirituality, which is the basis of this podcast. And I love speaking to women, and I'm hoping that this time around, I'm able to really bring women on that are open and willing to share some of their personal story, because I always feel that I learn best when I hear other women talk about their personal journeys and what they've been through, their triumphs, their tribulations, their wins, their losses. So I'm excited to be able to bring on my next guest, Brandy. She's the owner of Rejuvenate 8 OC, which is here in Newport Beach, California, Orange County, California, where I live. We're going to be talking about her business, which is body sculpting. And we're also going to be diving deep into her personal story as well in regards to sobriety. So I think it's pretty fitting for right now. It's October. Holidays are right around the corner and we want to feel good and we want to look great. And so I feel like this show is really fitting in the fact that we're going to be talking about body sculpting and feeling good physically. And we're also going to be talking about staying healthy, staying on balance, in balance with your body and listening to your body and knowing what to do versus when things get stressful during the holidays, knowing what to do versus taking that drink that you shouldn't take or taking that extra drink that you shouldn't take. So with that said, Brandy, welcome to Love Your Body, Love Your Life.
Hi.
So
happy to be here.
Yay. I'm so happy to have you on. Like I said before we got on live, I thought I was going to have to carry it on my own for a bit. So
no, it all worked out. I got to move up some clients so I could be here on time.
Yay. I'm excited. Yay. Well, let's dive into your business a little bit, Brandy. You mentioned a client. So talk to me about Rejuvenate 8 and what you do.
Yeah. So a little backstory. I've been in the aesthetic industry for going on almost 22 years now. And I've pretty much done everything in the industry, from skincare to medical devices to working with dermatologists, plastic surgeons, etc. And about 7 years ago, I have a mentor, and he had always told me, because I was trying to find my niche in the industry, like, what is it that like I'm truly passionate about? And he always told me, you need to find something, that separates yourself from everyone else. And so obviously, there's Botox everywhere, there's fillers everywhere, lasers, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to do something different. And, I'd been to Miami a few times and I noticed there, body sculpting, was a part of their lifestyle, just like it would be like getting a facial and those kind of things. And it kind of like intrigued my interest into figuring out why lymphatic treatments are so important. So I started doing lots of research, obviously, did some treatments myself, and not only discovered the physical benefits as far as, a more toned body, losing fat in, certain areas that you carry extra fat, but also all the health benefits of lymphatic treatments.
Mm.
Um, so I did some trainings. I did one here, I did one in Miami, and I kind of my goal was always to adapt that mentality here in Orange County and make body sculpting or lymphatic treatments kind of part of, everyone's lifestyle, if that makes sense. So in that, I started kind of really basic and just offering like a couple different treatments. And then over the years, I've kind of expanded. So I offer everything from like full body lymphatic to, fat reduction to cellulite treatments to tightening, kind of a lot more broad spectrum now. So yeah, that's what I do. And that's kind of how I got into it. And it's always, still my mission to kind of educate people and like, kind of speak more on why it's so important to detox your lymphatic system and get the toxins out for your health benefits, but also, to kind of release a lot of that water weight and extra fat that people carry around. And, normal diet and exercise doesn't work on.
So we do have a couple of questions that did come in, Brandy. And
Okay.
yeah, so let's talk about like somebody asked, what are the signs that the lymph is actually congested or needs attention?
So there can be several things. And again, I'm not a medical provider. So this I'm speaking on is all just from personal experience and from working on clients. But if you get a lot of headaches, if your allergies, you're dealing with a lot of allergies, if you feel really tired and lethargic, if you're retaining water a lot, like a lot of people come in and they constantly have extra water weight either in their belly or in their knees or ankles. Those are all signs that your lymphatic system is clogged up.
Mm. Other than body sculpting, can people just drink more water, or like what else can they do to unclog? Like, because some people can't, I mean, let's be honest, they can't afford to come in and do
Yeah. So other things, there's obviously, exercise helps with that. Vibration plates. The cheapest and easiest at-home thing that I recommend for all my clients to do is dry brushing. You can get one on Amazon. You can get one at Target, and it's just like a small wooden handle brush. And you can watch YouTube videos on kind of the proper way to do dry brushing, but that's a nice easy, cheap and expensive way you can kind of get your lymphatic moving.
Doesn't the trampoline do that too, Brandy?
Yeah, the
Like,
trampoline too. Yeah.
yeah, like, somebody could just buy that on Amazon too and like just
Yeah.
jump on that. And I hear that that's really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, okay, so somebody else is asking, what's your favorite modality? I believe that was the question. Do you have a favorite thing to work in your field? Like, what's your
Okay,
favorite?
yeah. So as I said, I'm always educating and like learning new techniques and everything. And my latest that I'm obsessed with, it's called endospheres therapy. And essentially they call it inner roller ball therapy, but it feels like a massage. And it's more of a deep lymphatic than a traditional hand manual lymphatic. And you can treat the whole body. You can even treat the neck and jawline and give you kind of more of a, contoured neck and jawline. So that's been my favorite lately.
Is this the new treatment
Yeah.
that you offer? Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah. Yeah.
done
It's my
one yet.
favorite. I think everyone needs to do one like once a month at least, especially for women around the time of your cycle, like a week before your cycle when you kind of retain a lot of water.
Mm,
It's amazing.
okay.
Yeah.
What's the most popular one in your, is it the Get Snatched?
I would say that Get Snatched. I deal with a lot of, clients that have digestion issues or they just tend to carry that lower belly fat, whether it's from alcohol or just digestion or whatever the case may be. So that one I do a combination of the lymphatic massage, the endosphere, and then I also do wood therapy, and then I do ultrasound cavitation, and then I do RF skin tightening. So that's my little combination treatment.
Mm-hmm. And then what does some people have to do, like prior and like what's aftercare and before care? Like if
So
they're
I
thinking,
always recommend no alcohol for 48 hours before, 48 hours after. As you know, I'm a big advocate for no alcohol anyways.
yeah,
And then also try to drink a gallon of water a day if possible. I do have a lot of clients that actually don't even like water. So I always say whatever you're drinking, try to double it. Because you really want to flush everything out through, everything's going to be flushed out through pee or sweat. Infrared sauna is great. A low carb, high protein diet, low sugar,
mm-hmm.
those kind of things help.
Mm. And so I'm just curious, the clients that don't like water, what do
Mhm.
they drink all day?
Who knows? I have some that are like Diet Coke drinkers, you know, and again, it's progress, not perfection, is always like my motto with everything in life.
Yeah.
So whatever they can do to kind of make those small changes, you know, like I kind of work with them and like, oh, let's try to get water and like put like lemon and some mint in it, make it like flavorful, you know, whatever they can do to kind of make those
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah. Instead of the Diet Coke kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we covered like all of that. I mean, there's the body image piece too. I mean, do women still come in and just talk poorly
Oh
on their
yeah.
side?
Of course. I mean, we're in Orange County, the land of perfection, everybody. And it kind of changes, you know, the fads of like the perfect body change. So when I first started my business, a lot of people were getting BBLs, you know, they were getting the fat taken from their stomach, put in their booty. So that look was more in and it's kind of evolved and now we're back to more of the model body being in. So I get a lot of different things, like some people wanting a thigh gap or they want kind of that over exaggerated waist and you know things like that. So the styles change constantly, but I try to, you know, personalize and customize my treatments to like whatever their ideal body is. If that makes sense.
That's so interesting, Brandy. I mean, we're just so hard on ourselves.
Yes.
I remember getting my makeup done for a photo shoot that I did actually like about a year ago with
Mhm.
Devin Duff. She's a makeup artist here in Orange County. And we were getting into that conversation of how she travels a lot, right? So she
Yeah.
sees all kinds of different faces. And I remember her telling me, like, Jenna, you know, it's just basically trend.
Yeah.
It's trend. So it's interesting to hear you say that too, because you see so many different women. And
Yeah. And kind of, you know, usually what the celebrities are doing kind of become the thing and it kind of trickles down. Yeah.
wow. So Brandy, how do you help or support a woman that is really feeling really down on her body?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I do get that a lot. And, you know, it's just, I think the biggest problem we have nowadays is comparing on social media and all the access we have to everything, right? So, self-talk is a big one and encouraging them to work out. I feel like when you work out, you take care of your health in that way, it builds your confidence, right? Like think about it. Anytime we've either gone through something or we're sick or what have you, like your self-esteem kind of goes down in a reaction to that, right? So
Mhm.
I feel like even if you aren't where you want to be, when you're working out and like taking care of yourself, it naturally builds up that confidence in yourself.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Because
Yeah.
I feel like when we feel really good inside, it does show no
On the
matter.
inside.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. Okay, well, I want to switch over and talk
Okay.
more about your personal story. And of course, it's whatever you feel comfortable in sharing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it,
Yeah.
and like I said in the intro, I think it's perfect timing because holidays are right around the corner.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
parties and stuff. So honestly, Brandy, I've known you for a while now, and
Yeah.
I don't even know like the full story. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited to hear.
Well, I don't know how much time we have, but I can kind of tell you, the general story. So, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to it because my story is very relatable, right?
Hmm.
I didn't have some horrible upbringing, or I wasn't living on the street or anything like that. Like, I was in a normal middle class family. So I was introduced to alcohol at a very young age. I grew up in this small town where there wasn't a lot to do, right? And so I was introduced to stuff very early on. And I had an older boyfriend who also in turn introduced me to stuff at an early age. So kind of the gist of it is that I started drinking at maybe 13, 14. And
Was
a
it
lot of
wine? Sorry, was it wine coolers or like
Yeah,
wine?
like the typical like wine coolers, boons, like
Okay.
Mad Dog 2020, like
Yeah,
whatever we could get our hands on, right? And
I
so
know.
um the relatable part for someone I think that is an addict or an alcoholic is that sense of relief, right? I
Mm.
always felt a void from a young age, right? Like I said, I didn't have my parents weren't beating me. I wasn't like in some trauma situation, anything like that. It wasn't anything out of the norm, but I always had this void. And when I took that first drink at 13, 14, that that sense of relief and that void was filled, if that makes sense. And so from that age on, I chased that escape, right?
Mm.
But on the outside, it was normal stuff. I was a teenager. I had an older boyfriend. I was going to parties, stuff that like when you're young, you think is normal, right? Um, yeah, he said, oh, sodas and teas. I'm reading the questions.
Oh, okay, you you could see him. I didn't think you could see him.
Yeah, we all tried the drinks at the early age. It's very common. That's why I'm saying my story, it's relatable for people, right? So I chased that escape moving forward. But on the outside, it looked like normal stuff, like going to dinner with friends. But the difference for me is that I wouldn't stop, right? Like I always, until I was at a blackout or I was passed out or, I didn't have that ends like, oh, I've had enough, right?
Mhm.
And it opened the doors, like where I grew up, like there's a lot of drugs, but they weren't like Orange County drugs, I'm sure. They weren't clean. They weren't, who knows what was in it? Who knows what I tried? Like,
Where did you grow up again, Brandy?
in a city north of Seattle, a
Okay,
small town north of Seattle.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so I just like to point that out because things people have access to here are very different than what we had access to, like when I was
Mhm.
growing up. So so yeah, so I constantly chased that and that continued over the years, but I was very high functioning. I always had good jobs. I was successful in my industry. I always made it to work. Like it didn't affect my day to day, right? So very high functioning. Fast forward to, life changes. I went through a divorce. I moved to California. When I moved to California in 2012, that was a whole new world. I was newly single, not newly single, but like single-ish for like a few years. So, it opened a lot of doors, that I had never experienced, like parties I had never experienced, that type of thing. Um, but the big message I'm trying to give with that is that I was always trying to numb something, right? Like always trying to escape something. I don't know, it's like we could go into a whole conversation of like what that was,
Right.
um but it was still high functioning. And then fast forward, it started to catch up with me. I got 2 DUIs back to back. Um that didn't sober me up though. I learned how to like keep on lifing with that, and I worked in medical sales at the time. So I had to like, do all these steps to like, make sure I had a license at all times, even after the DUIs. And then fast forward to I moved to Orange County. Then fast forward to 2018. I, you know, that's a whole other story, but had, not a good relationship with my kid's father. And he, always had it kind of out to get me a little bit. And where most people, at least the person that I am, I would go to my friend or my kid's father and be like, like, I think it's getting out of hand. Like, we should like talk about this. Like, maybe you need to get some help. Instead of doing that, a whole situation happened and my daughter was taken from me. So, yeah. So, am I a Gen X? So I'm 45. I don't know what gen that is.
I don't think when you moved to California, was it rec legal or were you doing it then?
Wait, what does that mean? I'm not
Rec
sure what that
legal?
means.
I don't know.
I don't know what that means. Yeah. Um,
Recreational legal. Wait, alcohol's legal.
yeah, alcohol's
We're
legal.
talking
So
about alcohol.
yeah, I'm not sure what that means. But anyways, long story short, yeah, that daughter was taken. And so obviously, that was like a wake up. It was like a huge wake up call for me. And
How old was your daughter at the time?
she was living with me at the time.
How old was she?
Oh, she was, let's see, this was 2018. She was 11.
Okay, so she was pretty young.
Yeah, she was pretty young. And so where most people that would be, their rock bottom, right? And it was not my rock bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, hard for a lot of people to believe, but that's how controlling addiction is over you. It's a very progressive disease. You can start thinking it's very normal, like I did in my younger age. And I'm a social drinker. I'm not somebody that wakes up in the morning and was drinking at 7 a.m. That was not me. I was a very much go to dinner with my friends, and then the night just never ended kind of drinker. So that happened. I did attempt for a short while, but that didn't stick. Like, I attempted to get sober. That didn't stick. I had some.
No.
Oh, okay. I mean, I was definitely dabbling in other things, but alcohol was the primary substance. That alcohol was my drug of choice, as we call it. So that was in about October. And then I didn't officially get sober until January 1st. January 1st is my sobriety date. And this January, I will have 6 years, which is very
Congratulations.
God willing, of course. So, it was kind of a back and forth thing from October until January, where I made some attempts, but I wasn't fully, as we say in sobriety, you have to surrender your control. Like, you're surrendering everything, surrendering that you no longer have control.
Was there a specific moment, Brandy? Like, did you wake up one day and just be like, today's the day? Or
Yeah.
what, like, something
Yeah.
just.
So the day that I woke up, I was visiting in Seattle because I had visitations with my kids at the time. And I had gone out New Year's Eve. And again, I was supposed to have like a 9 a.m. visitation with my kids. And I was blacked out the night before. And I woke up that next morning. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror, like I was like, I am done. Whatever, spiritual, awakening I had was at that moment, because I couldn't even bear to look at myself. I was like, who are you? Because I couldn't do it for my kids. I had to do it for myself, right? Like,
That
when you
is
do
so
it.
profound what you just said. Like, because I feel like that is the thing.
Mhm.
I've been around people with alcoholic issues
Yeah,
and heard like, I'll do it. I'll get sober. And it's like always for
someone
somebody
else.
else or
Mhm.
something else. And that I feel is just that's the thing. That's
Or you're doing it for an end result, right? Like to save your
Mhm,
job, to save your marriage, or what
mhm.
have you. And it just doesn't work that way. So it's unfortunate that, I had time period. And, trust me, I've had the mom guilt for many
Mhm.
years now. But ultimately it stuck once I decided I no longer have control of my life and I'm surrendering and I want to do this for myself, So I entered into a sober living. I entered into a treatment program. I was going to AA 5, 6 days a week. I was fully committed to sobriety at that point. I
Was
wasn't
that
even,
here in California, Brandy,
yeah,
or?
yeah, I was here in California.
Okay.
So my kid's father had their kids and he lives in Seattle. So they were with him at the time. And yes, I have since have, so we'll get into that, but, I committed, everything. My whole life was treatment, AA. Obviously you go through a lot of working through your internal shit and it gets really ugly and it's not rainbows and butterflies,
No,
Um,
I can
yeah,
imagine.
so there was a lot of that. I was really blessed, which that's I have so many stories, but that's a whole nother story because around that time is when I met my ex that passed away. I literally met him on my day 2 of being sober.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Was he
and
in
he was
the program? Was he in the program?
yeah, he was in the program.
Okay,
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was in the program. And a literal angel in my life. Like, as you can imagine, like I've lost my kids. Like at the time, like work was to shit because, I was a mess.
Mm.
And he literally, we would go to meetings together. I wasn't eating. He would take me to eat. And I just lived and breathed treatment for that first year. So I still have my visitations with my kids, but as you can imagine, they had a lot of resentment and anger at me, which is justifiable. So that relationship took, years to build that back up and build their trust back up and build that bond with them again.
Mhm.
So it was definitely one of those situations that in hindsight, I'm so glad it happened now. But at the time it's horrible, you
Mhm.
so in that process, like with, meeting, my ex that has now passed away, which again is another story, but, meeting him, I learned he was an amazing businessman and, he taught me a lot and he saw in me what I couldn't see in myself at the time.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need that. Like when you're
Yeah.
not able to see who you are and you're so kind of get teary eyed.
I
But
know. It's funny. No, go ahead because I'm just thinking of my mentor, that she passed this year in February.
I remember you telling me, yeah.
Yes, and she was like that angel to me, Brandy. Like she saw in me so many things, and she was like by my side. She was like that one person that would tell me like, "You got this, Jenna, 100%." Like she
Mhm.
was like that one person that gave me
Yeah,
100% support. And then I lost her in February, and it's like
I know.
devastating, you
It's
know?
devastating.
It's devastating
And
because
those angels, as I call, are so rare in this world. And when you come across
Mhm.
one, like you just never forget it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, he was that and
And
he
I feel
knew
like they're both still with us.
yes, they're definitely I see the
Yeah.
signs all the time.
Because they're coming up in conversation, so,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yep.
it's hard not to have them here physically, but it's like I
Mhm.
have to always remember that she's with me and he's with you, like
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So that was who, kind of helped me as I was going through everything I was going through, and then also really inspired me to start my business because he knew how hard I worked. He knew how educated and knowledgeable I am in the aesthetic industry, and he just knew like I was meant to do something for myself. So
Mhm.
he really inspired me to start my business, and that's kind of how it all, the
Came
business all came.
together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, and then, fast forward to now, I'm extremely close with my kids. We're literally like best friends.
Yeah.
And, they're my little ride or dies. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm so grateful it all happened. But I do feel like, if there's like a message that could come out of it is that we need to sometimes hit those rock bottoms. If I would have never hit that rock bottom, I wouldn't have the relationships I have with my kids, my family, my friends, have my business, be able to be thriving in my business and be who I am to my clients. I wouldn't be who I am.
Right.
So I'm grateful for it now, in hindsight.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always a silver lining. There's always, this is happening for us. We just sometimes can't see it in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that brings, because, I didn't mention this earlier. We didn't talk about it really, but I feel like I feel so safe in your little space,
Oh, that
I'm
makes
able,
me happy.
yes, and I know other people feel that too.
Yeah, they always say this is my like body sculpting / therapy session.
Yeah. So I think you bring a lot of, like, is it humility, I guess? Like a humble feeling, like it's
Yeah.
okay to not be perfect.
Yeah,
Uh, Even in this, like you said, this Orange County perfect kind of situation that we're living in. Um,
exactly.
I think people can really take down their hair and just talk.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
why I always like emphasize like what I do being really good internally, because I
Mhm.
think when we feel good internally, like that radiates externally.
Yeah. I'm just curious,
I
Brandy.
saw a question pop up, but I
I
forget.
know. It was something about the business.
Oh, were you in the aesthetic? Yes,
The-
I've been in the aesthetic business since 2003. So really long time. Oh my gosh, yeah, 21 years now.
I didn't even know that either. I didn't know you
Oh,
started so young. Did you start in Seattle?
yeah. When I was pregnant with my son, who's now 21, I was in aesthetic school. So
Okay, so you
I got into medical aesthetics before medical aesthetics was like even a thing. Like
Mhm.
Botox was just becoming a popular thing. And so that's where I got a lot of my training because I worked for a really popular dermatology office up in Seattle. So I got a lot of my knowledge and training from that.
Mm. So it's like meant to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You were
So
gonna
what do
ask me. Yeah.
yeah. So what do you do now? Like, I guess because I have an addictive personality, I would say, but my thing was always exercise, just because my mom
Mhm.
was exercise, and she never drank, so like I just kind of picked that up. And at the time, at some point, like in my early 20s, I would definitely over exercise because that was kind of
Yeah.
like my thing when I got stressed. So, but now when you're stressed, like what do you do? Like when you're at a party, or do you ever get tempted, or like how is it now?
Yeah, I definitely don't get tempted. I'm not
Mhm.
tempted whatsoever by drugs or alcohol. But I will say it's definitely changed. I'm like once you're most of us addicts, alcoholics, we replace one addiction with another, right? So for
Mhm.
me too, fitness is definitely, I wouldn't call it an addiction, but it's a healthy addiction if it is. But yeah, socially, I did not go out or do anything for the first, I would say, year, maybe even longer.
Mm.
And of course, in the sobriety like journey, your whole circle and like people you surround yourself with changes. So now I'm completely comfortable and I'm around friends and people that are not big drinkers. They're not like me and sober and in recovery necessarily, but they're just not big drinkers. They'll have like a drink at dinner or that type of thing. So
Yeah.
it's not even an environment that I'm in. I'm not a big partier, obviously. But it did make it a little challenging socially when I first got sober because I didn't really know. I found out in the process I'm definitely more of an introvert than I thought. It was actually the alcohol that made me such an extrovert. So that was interesting to learn. So I do kind of sometimes get a little socially awkward if I'm at like an event or something, or I get a little more quiet. which I wasn't before. So adjusting to that was, it took some time for sure.
Yeah. Did certain people have to leave your life? I mean, I know like yes, okay.
Yeah, currently and when I got sober. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
for sure.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
so crazy how the people in our lives have such influence.
Yeah, and you find that you don't have a lot in common, right? Like, if I'm not going to have drinks with you, like, what do we really have to talk about? And now my circle is filled with women that are business owners, are really high up in their companies, and they're wanting to, you know, excel at everything in life. And their, kids are the same age, and, their journey is kind of more aligned with where my journey is. So, that's been a blessing too.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
tribe is very strong now compared to before.
I see you on Instagram, like, traveling with all these girls,
I
so
know, and every one of them teaches me something, and I learn something from them, and that is, like, how female friendship should be, right? Like, you
for
should
sure.
all learn from each other and, like, inspire each other in some way or another.
Yeah. Are they your clients too, Brandy?
Let me think. Some of my girlfriends are my clients. Yeah, I just saw one today, actually.
Oh,
She's
you did?
post She just had a baby, so we're doing that postpartum snapback, which I love doing those. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, I always like to ask, like, what's, like, a beauty secret of yours or, like, your morning routine or your evening routine,
That's a good
something
one.
there,
Well,
like a
I'll share something newer that I've added because, with a huge thing that's happened for me, obviously in the business that I'm in, and then also just where I'm at in my journey with sobriety, it's really taken me down to like this health journey, right? Like I'm always like educating myself and trying to figure out what I can do to become more holistic. So I think, you've in our conversations we've talked too, but I've completely stopped. I don't even take Tylenol or
Oh,
Excedrin
yeah.
unless I'm like dying and need it. But I try not to take even any over the counter medications now. So I've been completely like free of those. The COVID shot, that's a whole nother conversation. Don't do
Mm,
any like vaccines or anything. So in that process that I'm kind of going down my own personal health journey,
mhm.
I've discovered NAD, which I am
Mhm.
not a doctor again, so I can't describe exactly what it is. Um, but it basically revives your cells. So all those old cells, it takes them and makes them new again. And I've just noticed so many benefits as far as my energy, my sleep, my skin, just overall, I feel better on it. So that's something newer I've been doing about the last like year and a half.
Is that an addition to? Because I don't you do, like, the IV treatment?
Yeah, so I do the NAD and IV, and then I also take it in capsule form, on the daily basis too.
Okay. What's
Yeah,
the
I'm just like I'm again, my addictive personality, I'm like addicted to it.
Yeah, yeah. Can you share the exact one you take?
Yeah, I can share that. I have
Or
it
if
like
you
in my
don't
email. Yeah.
what's that?
I said I have it in my email. Yeah, I can share like the
Oh,
company.
okay, okay. I thought maybe you had like, you
Yeah,
memorized
I've
the
I've
brand.
tried a lot of different ones because they get them from different sources and things like that. But if you have financially can afford it and have access to it, the IV is like the route to go with it.
Mm. I just started taking, more B supplements
Mm.
just
Yeah,
for
bees are good. Do
the
you do
B
it in capsule or in the injection?
capsule,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but somebody just told me I should try to go get, like, the injection for the bees
Oh,
because I guess
yeah.
gives you more energy.
Yeah, I do those too. I do all of it. I do those too at my girl that does like the Botox and everything. She does those. So I go to her for that once a week.
Okay.
And it feels amazing. You just wake up feeling so good. You don't need coffee or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why can't you take Tylenol or Motrin like when you're sober. I don't get it.
Oh, no, you can. So sorry if that came out wrong. No, absolutely you can. Just for me personally, I'm trying to do everything as holistic as possible.
No, I get it. Yeah. I'm like you. I hardly ever take Tylenol. I don't take Tylenol.
Yeah.
Unless like I have a fever, then I'll take like a half.
Yeah, exactly. Or if I feel like a migraine or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's just been a personal choice, not something that has anything to do. Sober people can take Tylenol. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, I don't get it. Like,
No, yeah, it's more for that, it's more pain meds. So like if I were to go get surgery, I have to have someone else administer me like pain meds post surgery. That's the proper way to do it.
got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
So NAD. So NADs.
NAD is like the hot thing right now. Yeah.
Thing. Okay. I'll have to
Yeah.
check
That's
it
like
out.
my favorite new thing that I'm doing.
Okay. And morning routine or evening routine, Brandy? Anything like different that you do? Like I ice roll every morning. I don't know if that's different or
No, I love that. Ice rolling's so good. My morning routine, obviously, you know, I'm really good with my skincare and all that kind of thing. But my morning routine is very in line with how it's been since I got sober. Like it's more of we do a morning prayer, we do morning affirmations, meditation. I kind of like don't go on my phone. I have my morning routine is more with that. Beauty wise, I've transferred over to Korean skincare products for the past year, and I'm really loving that. So that is something kind of newer and different for me since I worked in dermatology from a young age. I was using medical grade products from a very young age. So, so I decided to switch it up because I started reading all the benefits of like the Korean products and they are more natural and that kind of thing. So I've been loving that. It is a lot of steps. It's about 8 steps. Yeah.
so like more than just a toner, a cleanser, or a moisturizer. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of steps and the double cleansing and the whole thing, but I love it. I love it. So.
Do you do that morning and night?
Yep. I do it morning and night.
Okay.
My skin just feels more like hydrated and like, I don't know how to explain it, but it feels better. Because I think when I was using medical products, you're constantly going through the sloughing off phase.
Yes.
So I was constantly in that like drier phase with the medical products. And no knock to them. They're amazing. I just took a break because I'd been using them for like 20 years, you know?
Yeah. No, I get it. My neighbor actually just texted me recently with the Korean like product skincare line.
Oh, good. Yeah. You should try it.
I know because now you're bringing it up. And
yeah,
when she texted me, I'm like, like I'm not going to do that, you know, just because
Yeah.
I feel like I use Babor and like the medical grade stuff.
You should try it just to like switch it up a little and just see how you
Yeah,
like.
I will. I will. Because I haven't done anything like I haven't done any Botox or anything like that. So
Well, you look amazing.
I know. Believe it or not, I have not.
You lucky
I'm
girl.
I'm
You got
afraid.
good genetics.
I do. I do have good genetics, but I'm afraid to start because
Oh yeah. Once you start, you won't want to not do it. So
I know. Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, what's that?
I think there was a question that popped up.
Yeah, there was. It was something around how do you know which one is working if you're taking more than one? Or do they work in unison? Are we talking about what are we talking about?
That question came in when you were talking about the IV treatments and
Oh, okay. So how I understand it, and again, this would be a better question for like the nurse doing it, but how I understand it is you do the NAD IV somewhat closer together to kind of build it up in your body, and then you can kind of start spreading it out. So once I got to where I was doing it, I only do it once every like 3 months now. That's why I take the at-home pills as well. So I did it kind of close together. I did it weekly for, I would say, a couple months, and then I started kind of spreading it out. Does that make sense? So it kind of builds up in your body.
Yeah. Maybe it just kind of depends on the person because
Yeah, it's probably very individual to
totally.
the person too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're more sensitive, I would say just maybe take it like a little bit to start and then
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so too. Or just, yeah, ask there's so many IV businesses popping up everywhere. They would know the best, but that's how I did it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, people can find you where?
Oh, so my business page is Rejuvenate OC, as you can see spelled down here. That's where you can ask any questions if it's about body sculpting or anything like that. Happy to answer any questions about the IV or anything else we talked about, my personal page as well.
Instagram is on the banner.
Instagram's the best. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the easiest for sure.
You're active on there too. So if people go to your Instagram, they'll see.
Yeah, I try to be. In this day and age, we have to be, right?
I think so. It's the only way to communicate.
The only way to communicate.
Thank you so much, Brandy, for coming
Of
on and
course. This was great, and I always love connecting with you. So now you know my story.
I do. Now I know more about you. And your
Yeah.
new hair, I love it.
Oh,
So,
thank you. It's channeling my inner pink vibes to the outer because I'm just such a girly girl. So
you are. She was super blonde before. Now she's pink.
yeah.
Thank you. Have
Good.
a good day.
Bye. Have a good day. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Take care. Well, thank you to Brandy again at Rejuvenate 8 OC. And you guys come back for my next show. Like I said, I really want to feature women's personal stories. I hope you got some great takeaways from today, from her sharing her sobriety and all of her beauty tips. And if you guys want me to try to feature anybody specific, you can also DM me on Instagram. Or just let me know what you would like to talk about. Health, beauty, spirituality is going to be the main topics of this podcast. So I look forward to seeing you back again. And until next time, love your body and love your life. Take care.